So, in our comfortable seated position, wherever that is for you, welcome yourself into the space now, where you are right now. Welcome yourself to the mat, to the floor, to the chair, wherever it is that you find your comfort and your ease. If it helps, taking a nice breath in and a breath out. Let's do it two more times. Breathing in through the nose. And if you want, make a little sigh as you breathe out. Let your breath come to an everyday rhythm now. And bringing the focus to the body, to the weight of the body, where you sit. Where can you sense, feel, or imagine the props, be it the floor, or a chair, or a blanket. Can you pick out the points of contact that the body is making with these supports or with these props? Notice where your hands are. What's happening in and around the hands? And if you begin to watch the body breathe itself, how would it be to follow that breath? Noticing, perhaps, as you breathe in through the nose, the air, the whisper of cool air as it comes in through the nostrils, passes the back of the mouth, down through the throat and into the chest or the belly or both. And that expansion that happens here, following that breath as you breathe in. And then as you're breathing out, following the breath as it leaves the body, the belly or the chest or both, the throat, the back of the mouth, and then out through the nostrils. Maybe the breath is a little bit warmer as it leaves the body. Watching the body breathe itself. We do this every day, sometimes without even noticing or stopping to notice that we do this. And in yogi's choice, you have a choice to stay here with the breath, or watching the breath. If you like, even saying to yourself, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. Or if there is a breath practice that you like, I will leave the space for you now to do this breath practice here. And the next time that you're breathing out, let go of that practice. If you've had a little bit more control and effort with the breath, just release that, let the breath come back to its everyday rhythm. And slowly, gently bring the focus into maybe moving the fingers and toes a little. And as you gently open the eyes, allow your gaze to come onto the floor. Slowly bringing your focus back into the space. Perfect. I'm going to move back. So to do a little bit of a warm up before we do our side plank variation, I'm going to do a little bit of a cat pose. It's one of the basics, but it's a good go-to. Fingers are spread wide, elbows underneath the shoulders, legs are hip distance apart, and the knees are underneath the hips. And in this cat pose, as we're breathing in, we're letting the belly release and the head will come up. And as we breathe out, we're going to round the back and let the head hang. So as we inhale, release the belly, head will come up. Maybe the chest moves forward slightly, and then as you breathe out, rounding the back, letting the head hang. So let's see how it is if we do this 3 more times with your own breath, at your own pace. And then as you breathe in the next time, coming back to center. Now if you find that the wrists are getting a little bit antsy, just come up, give them a little twirl around. And then you can always roll your mat as well, place the heels of the hands onto the mat too. So as always, anything that we're doing this morning, stay within your comfort zone. If you start to feel any pain or discomfort, move away from this. We don't want to work into pain. Stay in that place of no pain. Sometimes you might feel a discomfort. There is a little bit of a difference, but if you know that you have shoulder issues or any other issues that may affect you, then just pull away from it. There is a little bit of weight bearing in what we're doing today as well. So obviously if you need to use different props, please do that too. So this is one way to help the wrist. It takes a little bit of pressure out of the wrists. This next move we'll do is a little bit for the side muscles here. And as I'm breathing out, I'm going to bring one hip, so it's my right hip towards the shoulder and bringing the right shoulder back. It's almost as if you want the two to meet, and it's like I'm looking over my shoulder. And then as I breathe in, I come back to center. As I breathe out, then the other side. So just letting them come together as if they were going to meet. Breathing in, coming back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Inhale. And then exhale the other side. So let's do this one more on each side. Again, at your own pace. It's your breath, it's your pose. And then as you breathe in the next time, come back to center. Here again, if the wrists, if the hands are getting a little bit tired, you can always do a little roll like that, or give them a little shake out. Okay, I'm coming down again. This time I'm going to bring one foot behind, have the toes onto the floor, and I'm pressing back into the heel. You can always put a blanket underneath your knees as well if you need to. So I can feel it a little bit more in my legs today. So I'm pressing back into that heel, getting a little stretch. And then I'm going to let the foot back and then the other side. So pressing back into that heel. And at the same time, trying to keep the shoulders relatively placed over the wrist, keeping everything in line. Perfect. Lovely. Then from here, grabbing, if you need something to sit on, if you find, well, I like to place something underneath me. It lifts my pelvis a little bit. If you find that you're okay to sit without anything, that's okay as well. You've got a choice to sit. We can either sit the legs a little bit apart, feet flat to the floor, or come and sit cross-legged. Okay, so we're letting the shoulders release away from the ears. And I'm bringing my hands, kind of fingertips touching just in front of the heart. So it's not against my chest, just kind of in front of the heart center. And as I go to move my elbows, I'm wanting to keep the hands still in line. So it's not this, and it's not pushing into it either. It's gently moving those hands and the chest at the same time, keeping the shoulders released, and then breathing in, coming back to center. And as I breathe out the next time, turning the other way. So we're kind of relying a little bit on thoracic area to move, and then we're working into these side muscles, abdominals as well. And then we're breathing in, coming back. Exhale the other side. So we're going to do it maybe 2 more times on each side, so 2 more rounds. And it might not be for you, it might not be a movement where you feel like you're moving very far. That's okay. Again, we're not wanting to push into it. It's a great move for working into all those muscles along the spine, as well as the muscles into the sides of the abdomen. Now, as we all know, or maybe you don't, yoga teachers are ridiculously useless at counting. So maybe we've done more than 2. That's okay. I'm going to let my hands come down, let the shoulders release, take a nice breath in and out. Let's do 2 more of those. Perfect. So, our side plank variation. I'm going to come and sit on one hip. Hand is a little bit out from the body, and here it's at an angle, so it's not, if when we come up, you're going to have the shoulder a little bit over, right? Again, be mindful if you know that shoulders and wrists might not be your thing. You can actually even just do this from this position. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll do it that way first. And I think you can see okay there. So my knees aren't stacked completely, a little bit out. So one way of doing this is keep your eye on that other hand, and as you breathe in, keep following the hand and come up. And then as you exhale, come down. So while we're not coming into, this is like a variation of the variation of a plank, there's still a lovely gentle movement that's happening in, back, in different parts of the back. Maybe even noticing yourself where this might be. I'm going to do 1 more here. Okay, so if you want to come off that, give it a little twirl. I laugh to myself sometimes when I'm doing some of these because I always feel very graceful. There's something very graceful about when you bring your arms up and you open out as well. So it's kind of nice to give you that open feeling as well. So I'm moving back a little bit because sometimes when I come up, when I go to show you, if your knees come off the mat, it might not feel so comfortable. So you want to make sure that your knees are on the mat. So the variation of this then is as you breathe in, you're lifting up onto the knees and coming up. And then exhale and come down. and then breathe in, come up. So you might not have the 2 knees on, it might just be the one, and then exhale and come down. So as you're doing this, focus perhaps on the side here, and as if you're drawing those in, the same way that we draw our belly button in. It's not tight, maybe about 20%. It's just to give you that engagement. So even focus or see how it is for you that when you do come up, that there's a little draw in here. So it gives you that, you're engaging into those muscles. And then you can see here the shoulder now is stacked over the wrist. So we're getting a little bit of weight bearing in here as well. So we'll do one more here on this side, breathing in. And then coming down. Perfect. And then switch it over to the other side. And we'll do the variation of the variation first. I like to have my hands spread wide, even pressing down into the fingertips a little, because that helps keep the wrist stable. So it's like you're doing a little, you've got a little hollow underneath your hands. Okay. Don't forget, one side is usually different to the other, and that's okay. So if you need to adjust or do anything like that, please do that. We're going to start keeping your gaze onto the hand as you breathe in, come up. As you breathe out, come down. Breathing in. Okay, and then for these, if you are choosing, you can either choose to keep going with that, or as you breathe in, come up, and exhale, come down. We'll do that 2 more times. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, come down. It's lovely sweeping. And you can always stay if you want for a breath or 2. Keeping that little draw up. Even roll the belly button back towards the spine. And then as you breathe out, coming all the way down. And then if you want to give the wrist a little curl as well. And maybe to counterbalance, or not to counterbalance, but to balance everything out. Again, sitting either like this or cross-legged. And we could do a little side stretch, so breathing in, coming up, exhale and over. Inhale, come up, exhale, over, bring the other hand up. Inhale, up. We get a little bit of, like we're like a little windmill. So your inhale brings you up, and your exhale lets you come over. And then inhale, come up and release down. Do a little twist. It's always good to get it. I always find when I'm seated in this position that it's always good to get a twist in wherever you can. So shoulders are released. Fingertips are just letting me know the floor is there. Hand is to the opposite knee. So it's not a very strong twist. And as you breathe in, come back to center. As you breathe out, over to the other side. And then inhale, coming back to center. Perfect. So I invite you to stay here if you like, or if you prefer to lie in constructive rest pose, if that's what you normally do after the practice, or consider during the day at some stage even coming to a shavasana pose, if you like, to close your practice. But I'll finish here reading this little blessing for ourselves. So sometimes when we're given a blessing, when I'm given a blessing for myself, I like to place my hand over the heart center to get that little bit of connection. So if you like to do that, you could do that. Eyes can be open or closed. And Perhaps take a note now of any sensations or even imagining how the body is after doing that short practice, but still movement nonetheless. How's the breath? And if you like dropping into that space, that heart center, the center of the chest, where our compassion, our love, our empathy, understanding, where all this, our kindness, where all this comes from in this area for ourselves and for others. And may my feet rest firmly on the ground. May my head touch the sky. May I see clearly. May I have the capacity to listen. May I be free to touch. May my words be true. May my heart and mind be open. May my hands be empty to fill the need. May my arms be open to others. May my gifts be revealed to me so I may return that which has been given, completing the great circle. May my gifts be revealed to me so I may return that which has been given, completing the great circle. We close our practice. May all be well. May all be happy. May all be free from suffering. May all be well. May all be happy. May all be free from suffering. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.